The Beast Anatomy from the cult classic sci-fi fantasy film Krull, 1983. The 80s are sometimes fondly known for being the era of fantasy boom and sword and sorcery in cinema, and Krull was another addition to the long line of such movies. It went on to be a cult classic, and what separated Krull from the hordes of similar films was the diverse range of sci-fi and fantasy elements in the narrative. Also, the main antagonist of the movie, the Beast, was as spectacular as he was entertaining, and in this video we'll dive deep into the physiological details of this gigantic monstrosity. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, let's begin. Who is the Beast, and what makes him a terrifying villain? When it comes to the sword and sorcery genre, the success of the story lies in the invincible nature of the villain, and the Beast certainly fits the bill. He's a gigantic extraterrestrial creature who has a humanoid appearance, but towers over regular humans in height. This alien Dark Lord is established as a successful conqueror at the very beginning of the movie, and he leads an army of slayers and other powerful creatures like Changeling to conquer all the opposition that he encounters. The Beast has already taken over and enslaved numerous worlds by the time the events of the movie unfold, and his whereabouts are like a bad omen for this world, Krull, that features our heroes. What makes him a particularly unnerving antagonist is the fact that he cannot be spotted under normal circumstances. For much of the movie, we only get quick glimpses of the monstrosity, and it's only in the climactic moments of the narrative that we get a clearer picture of his anatomy. It's revealed in the initial moments of the film the Beast is a near invincible force, and every bit of the story justifies the extent of his powers.
Such is my power. It can be yours.
What is known about the origin and backstory of the Beast? Even though the movie Krull has a runtime of 2 hours, the storytelling does precious little to elaborate on the backstory and origin of the Beast. Maybe the idea was to keep his origins mysterious, and the only noticeable information we get about the past life of the Beast is his betrayal of the Cyclops race. The Cyclops are one-eyed humanoid creatures found in the planet Krull, but previously they had 2 eyes just like the humans, and lived in the same world as the Beast. As a part of his numerous conspiracies, the Beast struck a deal with the Cyclops race and removed one of their eyes in return for granting them the ability to see into the future. However, the Cyclops people were actually tricked by the Beast, and all he ever bestowed them with was the power to see the time of their own deaths. It was one of the abilities of the members of the species of the Beast, and the trick on the Cyclops was actually a plan to experiment on changing their internal chemistry and make better use of these powers. The Beast then continued his conquests, and he moved in his movable black fortress from one place to another. Finally, he found himself on planet Krull and unleashed his slayers across the land to prepare for a takeover. The Beast was a smart conqueror who was aware of human nature, and he knew that some violent conquest on the planet would make others see him as the ruler. However, there was a prophecy in Krull about a king and a queen who would rule their world and later have their son rule the galaxy. It's possible that the Beast was aware of this prophecy, and the reason behind his prompt arrival in Krull could be to change the future in some way and continue his legacy. Who could the Beast be? Exploring potential origin stories of this extraterrestrial creature. After watching the movie, the theory that seems the most likely for the Beast is that he is of ancient origin. He may have existed since the beginning of time, and just like good forces, there were evil forces involved as well. The Beast was purely evil, and over time, he conjured more powers to take over the universe. There remained one major hindrance to his grand plans: the prophecy about a royal couple who would eventually be the rulers of the universe. Thus, the Beast came for them to disrupt their lives in every way possible. It could also be possible that the Beast is an enhanced member of his species, and the Slayers are simply far inferior to him. This has caused the Slayers to obey him and follow his orders blindly, and the Beast might have secured his powers by making use of the Ancient Ones and Emerald Seer back in the day. Lastly, what seems like another alternative is that the Beast was after the same super weapons that eventually helped in killing him. From the moment he knew about the prophecy, his goals may have been to secure a weapon powerful enough to safeguard his interests. Unfortunately for him, the magical 5-edged weapon that looks like a throwing star, the glaive, lands in the hands of Colwyn, who eventually uses it against the Beast. Is the Black Fortress a part of his existence? The Black Fortress is a magical palace that also serves as a spaceship for the Beast and his army of slayers. It is absolutely massive, and the design of the Black Fortress is almost like that of a mountain. After the Beast makes the slayers attack and destroy the wedding ceremony of Prince Colwyn and Princess Lissa, and kill their families, we learn more about the whereabouts of the Black Fortress. Ymir, the Old One, tells Colwyn that the Black Fortress can never be found in the same place twice, and it changes location every single day to avoid getting attacked. Thus, the location of the Black Fortress cannot be tracked by normal means, and the magical powers of the Emerald Seer are briefly used to detect the fortress on a crystal. Now, it almost seems like the Black Fortress is somewhat of an extension of the beast's physical body, but it might actually be slightly different. He might have created this Black Fortress with his dark magic to fulfill his conquests and maintain his constant stealth mode, and it might be more of a spacecraft than a palace. The first scene of the movie actually shows it descending on Kroll, and if you assume the palace to be a gigantic spaceship instead of a building constructed, the moving around part becomes easy to explain. Can the beast teleport himself? The beast has several magical abilities, and the power of teleportation is one of the many weapons in his arsenal. This is first observed when the Emerald Seer is requested by Colwyn and the Old One to find the location of the beast's fortress. The Emerald Seer agrees and uses a crystal ball to view the Black Fortress, but it doesn't last long because the beast is able to crush the crystal remotely. Only his crooked hands with his sharp and long nails appear for a few seconds and vanish immediately after the crystal is destroyed. Even the wise old Emerald Seer acknowledges that the beast doesn't want to be found, and his magic is more powerful than his, at least in this place. Is the beast telepathically connected to the Slayers? It's quite remarkable that the beast can pass on the orders to his Slayers effectively, even though he never leaves the Black Fortress himself. Yes, his forces might be smart enough to think on their feet and decide their missions based on the broader orders given by him, but it doesn't seem likely, given their robotic mannerisms. It looks like something or someone is controlling the Slayers remotely, and the beast might just be the one, working as a hive mind for the rest. He could also be in control of the creatures like the Changeling, which can change its shape to look like anyone, and uses this to attack Colwyn in the movie. How do his shape-shifting skills work? The beast is an extremely powerful shapeshifter, and he has the ability to assume the form of anyone he chooses. The forms that he takes are not necessarily perfect imitations, and his red eyes appear in the place of the natural eyes of the original. However, he can still go undetected for considerable amounts of time. Also, if the Black Fortress is indeed one of his forms, it shows that his shapeshifting skills are far greater than we assume. What makes the beast so powerful? We've already spoken at length about the Black Fortress and its mighty presence, along with the Slayers. However, what truly makes these so powerful is their advanced technology. The beast is familiar with futuristic technology and weapons, which shows in the fighting tools of the Slayers. It makes his forces superior to the armies of the Krull kingdoms, and ordinary weapons are no match for the Slayers. As for the beast himself, his powers are insane, and the final moments of the movie show us a few glimpses of his brute strength. He can produce fireballs from various parts of his body and unleash them on his enemies. He can also conjure items from thin air according to his requirements, and his ability to open portals anywhere has also been observed in the movie. The beast is basically omnipotent, and his only major shortcoming is that he cannot bestow certain abilities on himself, even though he can do so on others. Is the beast immortal by normal means? How is he finally killed in the movie? From the looks of it, the only reason the beast really falls at the end of the movie is because the protagonists have the blessing of plot armor. He's shown to be far more superior, and his near-invincible nature makes it appear for much of the movie that he is an immortal. In fact, the Old One points out that the beast can only be defeated with the magical weapon, the glaive, and in the final scenes, even the glaive fails to get the job done. When his fortress is breached by Prince Colwyn and his men, he becomes vulnerable and susceptible to damage for the first time. Later, Colwyn attacks him with the glaive, but even the mighty weapon gets lodged in his body. It causes him to bleed some kind of black goo, but the beast is still not even dead, though the prince assumes so for a moment. He gets back up on his feet and proceeds to attack Colwyn and Lissa once again. This time around, they make use of the prophecy and complete their wedding ritual. Now they get the power of manipulating fire and using it as a weapon, and the beast's energy bolts are fought back with balls of fire shot at him by Colwyn and Lissa. The beast is finally slain, and with his death, his Black Fortress crumbles as well and gets pulled into space. Eventually, it seems as though the nearly immortal and super powerful beast is actually killed by the prophecy, because not even he can change fate. Can the beast reproduce? Why did he want to marry the princess? It would be quite strange if the foremost member of a powerful species could not reproduce, and we're quite certain that the beast is capable of furthering his bloodline. However, the conditions required for this possibility are complex, and he cannot just mate with anyone. For instance, he imprisons Princess Lissa instead of killing her, and he even expresses his desire to marry her. He also tries to manipulate her into thinking that Prince Colwyn doesn't love her. And one could argue that all these efforts are simply the beast's tricks to overturn the prophecy. However, the prophecy could have been falsified simply by killing Lissa, and the beast never tries to do that. The only logical reason behind this could be his urge to procreate with her in the near future if he's able to convince her that he's a worthy suitor. The Beast could then possibly become the promised prince and rule alongside the princess, with their offspring who would later rule the entire galaxy. This means that not only can the Beast reproduce, but he can get it on interspecies, which is quite a despicable thought, given the grotesque and monstrous nature of the Beast. What was so special about the Beast's special effects? Back in the early 80s, it was an era of practical effects. But there was something very unique about the special effects of the Beast. Firstly, an animatronic suit was used, and more importantly, this was one of the first self-contained animatronic suits to be used effectively. This special suit ensured that apart from facial movement, even lung, heart, and body fluid movement could be brought about without any external cable. Last but not least, the makeup work was spot on, and everything from the use of light and colors to highlight the Beast was done tactfully. Marvelous verdict. Enjoy the show for some old-school fantasy fun. Krull cannot and should not be judged by conventional means, and one must acknowledge the fact that the movie was made over 4 decades ago. Of course, the effects haven't aged well in all scenes, and the story might seem silly for those who lack imagination. As for us, we're happy to slip into the world of fantasy and make-believe without a trace of logic. Medieval warriors fighting alien forces might not be everyone's cup of tea, and the Beast will not impress those who are far too invested in the world of modern CGI. If you happen to be an admirer of old-school cult classics like Conan, this is a movie that will make for a fun movie night, and the Beast is a villain that you will remember for a very long time. Do let us know in the comments below what you think of this bizarre and memorable villain. And also share your thoughts on the movie. That's still a great nostalgia kick for those who grew up with these classics. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.